Does HDFS use Zookeeper? You may be surprised what's changed. If you're new to Hadoop, you might not be familiar with Zookeeper. You've probably heard of it, but aren't quite sure why it is needed or what it is used for. You might be wondering specifically, does HDFS use Zookeeper? Answer, yes, in newer versions. It is used, but it doesn't need it unless you are using a cluster. So basically, if you're clustering, you need Zookeeper. It helps your cluster with leader election and coordination and all that sort of stuff. But if you're not clustering, if you're just running in a lab environment, you don't necessarily need it. So older versions of Hadoop do not use Zookeeper. This includes 1.x. Starting with version 2.0, Hadoop does use Zookeeper for clustering. You don't absolutely need Zookeeper if you aren't running a cluster. You can create a non-clustered version of Hadoop, for example, in a lab environment. When you do this, it is completely possible to use HDFS without Zookeeper. Why does Hadoop need Zookeeper? Hadoop itself doesn't necessarily need Zookeeper unless you are running a cluster. Hadoop does use Zookeeper for clustering, though. Other components that operate within the Hadoop ecosystem, such as HBase, do need Zookeeper. You will need Zookeeper if you plan on running HBase. Zookeeper is relatively easy to set up, but it does take a bit of admin work. Zookeeper versus Yarn. Yarn and Zookeeper do somewhat different things. Comparing them is like comparing apples and oranges. They are both fruit, but different. Yarn actually uses Zookeeper for clustering. Yarn handles resource allocation and scheduling for a cluster of nodes. It handles job requests and scheduling. It manages priorities, fairness, scheduling strategies, resource constraints, and rules. Zookeeper is a cluster by itself. It provides distributed synchronization and naming. It can store bits of information. It's often used for leader election, while Zookeeper is a cluster itself. It is used by other services for their clustering. If you found this useful, remember to like and subscribe. Give me that nice thumbs up. It helps out a lot. If you didn't like the video, though, just leave a comment down below telling me what you didn't like about it, what your criticism is, or if you like it, you can still leave a comment. Whatever your thoughts are, I want to hear your thoughts. I want to know what you think. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, click the little bell if you want to get updates when there are newer videos. They're almost certain to be more interesting than this video, so definitely something to think about.